Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. I'm really loud.
Yeah, you are.
You probably touched something.
I didn't do anything, and you can't prove it. Hello, everybody. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show. I'm your friend Greg Tupper. Pickle. Dateline.
Dateline.
Ojai, California. O-J-I-A-I? O-J-A-I? Ojai?
Yeah.
Ojai? Ojai?
It wouldn't be Ojai. It would be, as the J would be, make an H sound.
I would like to introduce you to a gentleman named Trevor Jacob. Are you familiar with Trevor Jacob?
No.
Trevor Jacob is a former snowboarder for the Olympic team, United States snowboarder. He competed in the 2014 Winter Olympics in Sochi. He made it to the semifinals of men's snowboard cross, where he failed to qualify for the final. He then went into he was in the Winter X Games, etc., snowboarder. Afterwards, he after a pretty good career in snowboarding, he turned as all the youths are doing these days. He's 29. To YouTube. He's a YouTuber. He's got a YouTube channel.
All right.
I'm gonna read from his Wikipedia page right now. Okay. In December 2021, Trevor Jacob is his name, but he's got two first names, which is actually he's got three. His middle name's Daniel.
Ah, jeez, come on, Mom and Dad.
In December 2021, Jacob posted a YouTube video in which he parachuted out of a light aircraft claiming engine failure. The Federal Aviation Administration revoked his pilot certificate after determining that he had crashed the plane for the sole purpose of filming it. Which now takes us to the dateline of Ojai, California. A former Olympian who has over 140,000 subscribers on YouTube pled guilty to a federal felony charge after he purposely crashed an airplane for video views.
Jeez.
He had been under investigation for staging a plane crash in December 2021. He pled guilty to one count of destruction and concealment with the intent to obstruct a federal investigation, a crime that carries a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. In the video titled, "I Crashed My Plane," Jacob can be seen diving out of a civilian aircraft and popping his parachute. He claims the airplane malfunctioned while he was flying over Los Padres National Forest in California. The video was reportedly met with some skepticism, etc., etc.
Okay, so at least he crashed it over like a not habited area
sounds like,
rather than, in the midst of a city. Not that that's any better.
Yeah, he says that he didn't know the location's wreckage, but in fact, he went and he found it and he cleaned it up.
Sure.
That's what he said. He said that, he told investigators, I don't know where the plane is.
Dust broom out.
I don't know where the plane is. I jumped out of it. It was an emergency. Mm-hmm. But then he went and he found it and he cleaned up the wreckage to to hopefully cover up the whole thing.
Jeez.
So anyway, we're doing it for the views, folks. We're crashing planes for clout. That's what we're doing these days.
Well, I guess we gotta tell Adam that we need to upgrade our budget a little bit if we gotta buy a plane to crash.
I just take a drone. I'm not crashing that baby. I'm going to fly that over every high school football stadium in Texas. That's what I want to do. But I will say,
would you get a drone license?
What?
Would you get a drone license?
Do I need a drone license?
I think so. I think for a certain type of drone.
I would do what it takes to have a drone.
Yeah, I know. I honestly, we're so close to the airport. I don't know if we could fly it right here. Like
at least
Grapevine, Colleyville.
I wonder if they're you can do it a maximum of 250 feet.
If we wanted to go do Mustang Panther Stadium in Grapevine, I don't think we could do that because it's so close to the airport.
If you want to go to the stadium where you can tell it's the off season. The stadium where Euless Trinity and Herself play.
Yep.
If you want to go there, that's right near the airport.
Mm-hmm. Even South Lake's not far from the DFW airport.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny.
Yeah, I wonder. Anyway, but I do think there's this. I know there's people who are kids these days when they were growing up, they wanted to be astronauts or they wanted to be doctors or whatever, and now they just want to be influencers. They just want to be YouTubers. And I'm here to tell you that of course they do. That's what they see. The reason everybody wanted to be an astronaut growing up in the old generation is because that's what they saw. They saw it on TV. They saw a dude land on the moon. They're like, I want to do that. It's just, I don't know. Now, I want to be very clear. Thumbs down to Trevor Jacob. Yeah, thumbs down.
Don't crash your plane.
Don't crash your plane for the clouds.
Like, honestly,
the official statement of Dave Campbell's Texas football.
Yeah, at that point, like, go be a Hollywood actor. Like, you're already over there. They crash planes, like, theoretically that you can view.
The video's still up.
Okay, that's what's crazy to me.
4.1 million views.
How have lawyers not taken that down?
4.1 million views, and sure enough, yeah, he's...
Like, you would think that the federal government would be like, remove that.
The top comment's very good, and we can end on this. This was epic. Please try again in 20 years.
Oh, jeez.
Hit the theme, Expo. Pickle! Hit the arrow sign. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show that hasn't crashed a plane today.
Today's not over.
My name's Greg Tepper. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all the places, or listen to us in the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. Miss 305, Miss 915, Miss 956, Miss...
That about covers it.
469 Denton?
Yeah.
469. She's the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle. What's the Llano area code?
325. Well, it kind of depends on where you're at. Yeah. But 325, mostly, you kind of get lumped in with the big country over there. But if you go like to Marble Falls, then it's like 830. So our home phone was 325.
Your home phone was 325. Do you guys still have a home phone?
No, my parents got rid of it like last year or 2 years ago.
Last year?
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Yes, because
it was kind of one of those things that was just kind of collecting dust, and they just hadn't taken care of finally just cutting it off. Like, they never picked it up. But...
You remember your home phone number? I think, do you remember all your home phone numbers? I guess you
only had one.
I remember there was one there was one in when we lived in Atlanta for a spell. Our phone number was really good. It was 442-5666.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. As a kid, that was like, oh, man, that's easy. Like, I remember that.
Yeah.
You know?
I have a friend that currently has the last four digits 1666, and it's always like, scary.
How many phone numbers do you have memorized right now?
Probably.
I don't have yours.
No. I would say
yours,
probably like 5 to 10.
I know your area code only because whenever I book coaches for the show, I tell them you're going to get a phone call from this number.
Yeah.
From this area code number.
Yeah, I would say probably about 5 or 10.
I know my wife's. I think I know my mom's. Which that about covers it at that point.
Yeah, I don't think I need any more.
Today is Tuesday, May 16th, 2023. It's 191 days till Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to former Ranger great and former Rangers pitching coach Doug Brocale, who turns 56 today. Episode 1591, I should say.
92.
Just all sorts of wrong. On today's show, folks, it's Math Tuesday.
We're
going to take a look. We're going to reevaluate the 2018 recruiting class. 5 years ago, we're going to go back and take a look at the recruiting class from 5 years ago and see how it all panned out.
The fact that that's 5 years ago is insane.
Yep. 5 years ago was the Jimbo Fisher cover.
I was still in college, so that at least makes me feel okay.
David Ubben was working for us for a brief, glorious moment.
I was a junior in college at that point. Sophomore, then going into junior.
I was a much younger man. I wasn't a dad yet.
Holy cow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'll have Math Tuesday coming up here in just a minute. And then back half of the show, Matt Stepp caught up with Kilgore head coach Clint Fuller. So we will hear from him coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Nick Morton, Andrew Christensen, Tony Blaylock, and Coach Terry Crawford. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. It is Tuesday.
Correct.
It is the off season. And here on this program, we observe Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today, where we take a look inside the numbers, dive inside the numbers. What I love most about that video, besides everything, is there's one woman who's like jumping up and down like, yeah!
Well, and shout out to our boy out in California, but we just got stock footage of houses blowing up instead of actually going up and blowing up a house, unlike exploding a plane. So it exists,
That's
you know,
exactly right.
stock footage.
Yeah, it's from
it's
some
great.
show. I think it was like one of those extreme makeover shows.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's Math Tuesday. One of the things we do in the 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football is a piece by longtime managing editor and longtime contributor David Barron down there at the Houston Chronicle. He's been doing this for years, where it's a 5-year recruiting review, where 5 years after a class was signed, he goes back and takes a look at how that class panned out and how maybe our perceptions were wrong, how close we were to on the evaluation side. And he actually, I hope when you pick up the magazine, you will go and read the whole thing. It's very interesting, but he has a whole formula. It's a whole formula for grading these. That's not just how many games you won, but it's how many players got drafted. It's how many academic All-Americans you had, things like that, conference championships. And it's a big formula that he puts together where he re-ranks the classes. It's a really interesting piece, and I always enjoy whenever it comes in. It came in after the NFL draft because we had to wait for the draft to go by. Mm-hmm. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to take a look at the recruiting classes from 2018, which was 5 years ago, and how those recruiting classes really panned out. Now, if you remember, and maybe you do, maybe you don't, but the way that those recruiting classes really broke down was that let me see if I can find this. The top recruiting class belonged to, I want to say Texas A&M. Let me see. It belonged to Texas, I should say. It belonged to Texas. The next best belonged to Texas A&M. And these were two, oh wait, no, who had the number one? Actually, it was Texas, followed by TCU, followed by A&M, followed by TCU.
Okay. Texas A&M, TCU. Those were the top three recruiting classes. Okay.
And now there were obviously I believe there's been coaching changes at all 12 of the FBS teams since then. For example, Tom Herman signed the Texas class. Mm-hmm. It was Matt Rule who signed the Baylor class. Sonny Dykes signed the SMU class. Gary Patterson signed the TCU class. Seth Luttrell signed the North Texas class. Major Applewhite signed the Houston class.
Cool.
Right. Frank Wilson signed the UTSA class. Jimbo Fisher did sign the A&M class. So that was his first class. Cliff Kingsbury signed the Texas Tech class. That's 2 coaches ago. Mike Bloomgren did sign the Rice class. He was there. Dana Dimmel, he was there as well at Texas Tech. Everett Withers, so they were on their third coach. Everett Withers signed the class at Texas State, and so on. But when you take a look at these, it's really interesting to break down how these went, how these classes particularly kind of broke down. You got some classes that underachieved, some classes that overachieved, and others that kind of stayed about the same. So what I want to start with, and I think I numbered these. Did I number these?
Yes.
Okay. The first one I want to take a look at is starting seasons. So what we did, took the number of high school signees that each FBS team had in the class of 2018, and then the number of seasons that those players started, okay, that they were starting, members of the starting lineup for those teams. And then we come up with the average. So, for example, Baylor, 21 signees from the high school ranks, 25 starting seasons, 1.2 starting seasons per signee. So the number one team on this list believe it or not, the team that got the most starting seasons out of their players, the North Texas Mean Green.
How about that?
2.1 starting seasons per signee. Now, they only signed 13, but they got 27 starting seasons out of them. Same goes for SMU. SMU had a great class in that regard. They got 2 starting seasons for every signee that they had. Now, obviously, if you have one guy who starts 3 seasons and another guy who starts 1, that averages out to 2. But still, next up on that list was Texas, 1.5. UTEP, TCU, UTSA, all kind of hovering around 1.5. Baylor, Texas Tech, and Houston at 1.2. Rice at 1 got about 1 starting season out of each of them. And then you have the 2 programs or the 2 classes that I would say disappointed here. One of them was Texas State. They signed 24 high school kids. They only got 19 starting seasons out of them. And then there's Texas A&M, which signed 21 players. Remember, they are the second-rated recruiting class. They got just a little more than half a starting season out of each of their 21 signees. It just didn't work out for them. Mm-mm. There are reasons why that we'll get into in a moment, but I do think that that's really interesting that they just plain and simple did not get the bang for their buck. So then that's one way. That's kind of what kind of value you got for them on the field. What about putting them into the NFL? Which teams did the best job of taking their class of 2018 and getting them drafted in the NFL? And maybe this is a surprise, maybe it's not, but the winner here is Texas. Texas put 22% of their signees into the NFL draft. 6 of their 27 got drafted. TCU's next, 15% of them with 3 out of their 20. Then Baylor, 14.3. Then Houston. Then Texas A&M, 2 out of their 21. SMU, Texas Tech, and UTSA each had 1 with kind of varying degrees, around 6 to 7% of their signing class. And then there were 4 teams that did not get a draftee out of their 2018 class: North Texas, Rice, Texas State, and UTEP. I don't know if that's necessarily a huge surprise, but in the end, Texas did the best job of recruiting draft players that would end up to go on to be drafted, followed by TCU and Baylor would be the top 3. But this is the one that I wanted to get to, because this, to me, is the one that tells you about how the game has changed in the recruiting world during the course of the lifespan of this 2018 class since they've been on campus. Let's talk about transfers. Let's talk about which teams lost the most and the least to transfers. So the team that held on to the largest number of their signees was UTSA. They signed 17 high school signees, and only 3 of them transferred. That's pretty good. Only 18%. Rice, also kind of not surprisingly, held on to 27, or only had 27% of their signees transfer. Baylor's next at about 1/3 of them. Same with SMU, about 1/3 of their players. North Texas, a little under 40%. Texas State, under around 41%. Then you get into teams that had more than half of their 2018 class transfer. Texas Tech had 52 and almost 53% of their signing class that transferred. I don't know if that's necessarily a huge surprise, considering they had 3 coaches in that span.
Yeah.
Right? So if let's just say you got signed by Cliff Kingsbury. Mm-hmm. Matt Wells comes in, you might be like, I don't want to play for Matt Wells. Mm-hmm. Matt Wells gets fired. Even if you hang on with Matt Wells, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to play for Joey McGuire. Right. You know what I mean? There's opportunities. There's exit ramps there. TCU, maybe a little bit of the same. Sonny Dykes comes in. They lose 55% of their class. Same with Houston. They had Major Applewhite, then on to, and then eventually they brought in, after Major Applewhite, it was Dana Holgerson as coach now. 55%. They had a coaching change. Texas had a coaching change. 55.6% of their class transferred. UTEP didn't. But I also wonder if that is a part of that is that they did have kind of success under them. Mm-hmm. And so as a result, when you're a G5 program like that, you get plucked. We know that there have been a number of guys who got transferred to other places because they just got other opportunities to play at bigger programs. But the outlier here is A&M. Mm-hmm. They had the same coach. Jimbo Fisher's still there. They signed 21 high school players. 2/3 of them transferred. 14. They had of the
high percentage
of the 21 signees they had, only 7 finished their career at A&M. Only 7.
Yeah, it's really odd to look at it because, like we mentioned, obviously, like UTSA and North Texas and Rice, when those players that are drafted there, I think that we can start to talk about the difference between Power 5 and G5. Mm-hmm. Those players are excited for the opportunity to get to go play there, and then it shows that UTEP, when you have success, people pluck you. On the opposite side of this to me seems like the real hitter for high school players that are drafted by these huge Power 5 universities of saying, okay, hey, I'm not going to get any playing time here. I thought maybe I could redshirt my freshman year and then go do something. So they decide to transfer over to a UTSA where the retention rate is a lot higher.
Right. So look, I hope you'll pick up the 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I will tell you that based on David Barron's formula, which, again, takes into account a lot of these factors plus more, Texas did end up with the number 1 class, followed by Baylor, which had a really nice, which ended up having a number of, like a couple of All-Americans, like Connor Galvin, etc. Then it was SMU was 3rd, TCU was 4th, North Texas was 5th, Houston was 6th, UTSA was 7th. It's 8th before you get to A&M, which was the number 2 class coming out when it got signed.
It doesn't surprise me about SMU being so high because you'll remember, obviously, they brought in then Shane Buechele, and then that 2019 season was when things really started to take a turn for them.
So the thing about them that ended up helping with them was Jalen Thomas, who was a 5-year starter for them in the offensive line. Mm-hmm. Reggie Roberson counts as a transfer, but they had 6 guys who were on their 2022 roster from that class. Yep. I mean, think about that. 5 years later, they had 6 guys still on that class out of 14 high school guys. Mm-hmm. It was a good class there for Sonny Dykes there at SMU, and Rhett Lashley's done a great job with them as well. Anyway, that's a look at the 5-year recruiting review that we're going to have in the 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, which we hope you will go to texasfootball.com/subscribe to get your copy mailed to you early. That is Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on texasfootball.com, talking football on the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at texasfootball.com. As I mentioned, hope you'll go to texasfootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. 3 magazines, a year's worth of exclusive online content, and a year's worth of streaming on TexanLive.com. All for less than $50 for the year. It's a steal. It's a crime. Go to texasfootball.com/subscribe for what's a holiday coming up? Memorial Day.
Yeah,
that seems in poor taste.
Father's Day is approaching in June. So honestly, if you want to have your magazine on the cusp of being delivered around Father's Day, you need to subscribe now, or else it's not going to happen.
Yes. So. texasfootball.com/subscribe. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Now, a word from our friends.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Pickle. It's 7-on-7 season, which might as well be step season.
Correct.
He was out in Kilgore this weekend at the Kilgore state qualifying tournament for state 7-on-7. There, he caught up with the man who kind of runs that barn, Clint Fuller, the head coach of the Kilgore Bulldogs. Here's Matt Stepp's conversation with Clint Fuller of Kilgore here on Texas Football Today.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas football here at the Kilgore 7-on-7 state qualifying tournament. We are here with the head coach of the Kilgore Bulldogs, Coach Clint Fuller. Coach, appreciate you having us out this morning and appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. We're excited to be hosting our first state qualifier here in Kilgore. It's going to be a big tournament, lots of good programs, and should be a fun day.
Let's talk about 7-on-7 first. I mean, it's got to be nice to be able to host a 7-on-7 qualifier. You guys just started playing in qualifying tournaments last year, and you did well in your first year playing qualifiers. When you're watching your kids play 7-on-7, obviously you're competitive. You want to win. I mean, once the Kilgore Bulldogs strap it up, and it doesn't matter if it's checkers or chess or 7-on-7 or football in the pad with the pads on, you want your guys to do well. So, what are you looking to see out of your kids today?
Well, for us, we use it as a tool to get ourselves ready to play in the fall. Offensively, we got a new quarterback this year, and so developing chemistry with our receivers. We got a bunch of receivers back and some good young receivers, so just really developing a rhythm and chemistry offensively, and then defensively, we return a lot at linebacker and defensive back, so looking for those guys to play tight defense and go out and compete and make plays.
Last year you guys, 10-4 record, made it to the regional finals. This district, 9-4A Division I, is a brutal one in East Texas. Week in and week out, it's a grind. And the success is shown in the playoffs. When you look at your district schedule and look at your district opponents, I mean, do you feel like for your money it's the toughest district in the state in Class 4A?
Absolutely. I mean, I think you can see the success from all the schools in our district and in playoffs. Our district sets us up. It's week in and week out. Anybody can beat anybody, and so whoever makes it out of our district is ready to play in the playoffs and make a run. So every week you got to be ready to go.
And do you feel like some teams that finish 6th and 7th in your district, if you put them in other districts, they could probably challenge for playoff spots?
Absolutely. Every week there's Division I football players on the field. You look at some of the teams that have finished lower are still really good teams, and they go into other districts and could compete for a playoff spot. And this year coming up, any team that, finished out of the playoff could very well be in the playoffs this year just because of the talent and the coaches. There's great coaches in our district, and like I said, you got to be ready to strap it up every week.
You guys here in Kilgore have made some nice facility upgrades. You got brand new turf on the field. Down here on the stadium, you got new locker rooms are recently redone. How proud of you are you to have these kind of facilities and your kids to have these kind of facilities, and how grateful are you that the community of Kilgore has made the investment in the student athletes here? Oh,
it's fantastic. Our kids are fired up for the changes that we made at RE St. John. We're building a new high school. Our community loves football, loves our students from high school all the way down to the elementary levels, and so just really proud of our community making a commitment to our school district. Our administration has done a great job. Our superintendent, Coach Wood, our athletic director, they've done a fantastic job of updating our facility for our kids so they can have a great experience.
All right, now you mentioned earlier you're breaking in a new quarterback. You got some new faces. When Bulldog fans see you guys take the field in week 1, what's the personality of your ball club going to be, and what are some things what kind of ball club do you expect to field next year?
Even though we got some new faces, the tradition and the things that we pride ourselves on aren't going to change. We're going to be disciplined. We're going to play physical football. We're going to play hard, and we're going to go make plays on both sides of the ball. So even though there's new faces, the formula for our success will not change.
Coach, appreciate your time. I enjoy watching your kids compete today, and we appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming out.
There he is, Clint Fuller, head coach of those Kilgore Bulldogs. Big Red out there in East Texas. We appreciate him having Matt Stepp out there for their state 7-on-7 qualifying tournament. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts?
Just want to remind everybody, softball and baseball playoffs are going on right now. So if you're looking for just live sports to kind of fill the void, we have those on TexanLive.com. So we should have some really good baseball games and softball games this weekend. So make sure to go tune in to those.
Go check that out, or you're going to be in big trouble.
People always ask, why don't y'all cover baseball? It's like, well, we do. It's just with Texan Live.
Yeah,
so go watch those. They're a lot of fun.
Go check that out, TexanLive.com. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Clint Fuller of Kilgore for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow. Texas Football Today.